Guys? Welcome back to the JP and Trav show on the JP and Trav show YouTube channel. As always, it's your host with the most, JP. And to the right, I got my esteemed co-host and brother, Travis J. Davidson. Trav, how you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling great. I'm watching some stress-free basketball, Big 12 basketball, just being able to enjoy the teams playing each other instead of having to think about how OU will eventually lose to them. So it's kind of nice. Do want to go ahead and start the show by saying thank you to everybody that sent their prayers, their thoughts for Gentry Williams. For those of you that know me at all, know that Gentry's one of the guys I'm closest with on the team. Watched him in high school. Even catered his graduation party and whatnot. I was in contact with him today when he got out of the hospital. Said he was feeling a heck of a lot better. Said they were doing some tests and whatnot, but he was on his way back to Tulsa. So on his way back to Tulsa because it's spring break. Like all the athletes are on their way either back home or they're staying in Norman, but it's not like he was sent back to Tulsa to recover. This is a normal thing that he would have been doing and coming back. So again, thank you for everybody keeping Gentry in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully it's nothing too serious when all the tests come back, but the good news is they felt comfortable enough to release him, discharge him from the hospital just this afternoon. His heart never stopped beating. They put, the echocardio something on him, never had to use it. So anyways, glad he's doing well. And welcome to episode 69, which I feel like we've done more, but 69 it is.
We probably have done more.
Hey, it's cool. We never got to celebrate 69, so 69, here we come.
I probably need to relook at that, but nice. So yeah, absolutely. I couldn't say it any better than you. Thank you guys for the prayers. I know, I was definitely praying. Me and Trav were on the phone earlier, and I definitely said some prayers for Gentry, and glad that it doesn't seem to be anything crazy serious. And that hopefully he'll be able to get back to things. Obviously, that's I know that's at least anybody concerns. We're just glad he's okay.
Yeah, and for Kirby, I was asking what had happened. Quick update: this morning, you started to see tweets go out saying prayers. Hey, this is bigger than football. This, that, and the other. Gentry during workouts, during specifically tug of war, collapsed. Like I said, heart didn't stop, anything like that. But OU's medical staff jumped all over it for precautionary reasons. Took him to the hospital where they monitored him, ran tests, everything like that. He was very quickly stable, alert, awake. His parents came down from Tulsa, and yeah, so it was scary because anytime you see something like that happen, it's scary. But like I said, heart didn't stop. Just passed out. Who knows? I don't know if he was dehydrated. I don't know. So anyways, that's what happened, and God bless. So let's move on into the show. What you got, JP?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, first off, guys, again, thanks for being here tonight. We know it's not a Wednesday night. Normally something we do. We wanted to move the show because we wanted to have and be in pain one last time this year, seeing the Oklahoma men's basketball team play against Oklahoma State and lose for the third time. But we want everybody to go and check that out. And obviously Trav and Parker had their space last night, which I didn't get to do because, it was 11 o'clock for your boy over here on the Eastern Seaboard. My daughter just turned 1 on Tuesday, so she's been in and out of sleep a lot because she's had some sugar. So I was asleep. But obviously, definitely good to have a day off yesterday, and now we're back here on Thursday night. So glad to have you guys here. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe again. The channel is now the JP and Trav Show. It's at Indy Sooner. This is going to be, basically the hub for that. And make sure you follow us on JP and Trav Show at JP and Trav Show on Twitter. Make sure you follow that account. We'll post a bunch of, in case you're missing Mondays, Throwback Thursdays, Food Fridays, which we got happening tomorrow. We like to talk about food a lot on this show, so make sure you guys pay attention to that. Hit that like button. Make sure you share on Twitter, everywhere else. All right, let's get into it. Junior Day. Last week, I thought it was the week before, and I was wrong. And we're looking forward to this past week where obviously we had a lot of big time 2024 recruits in the house. And I would say it's a pretty good weekend as we've had some traction here as of late with one Kevin Sperry, which we talked about with our boy Sean Cooper a few weeks ago, getting a crystal ball from our friend Brandon Drum, and also the running back, which I still can't remember his name.
Tavani Mizell.
Deloney Mizell. I'm gonna get it before long. I'll be saying his name like he's my brother in a couple weeks. But he decommitted from Georgia after visiting OU this weekend, which bodes well. Lots of pictures from one Parker Thune of DeMarco Murray last couple of days. So, Trav, what did you hear, and what have you seen since this past weekend?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand kind of the structure and purpose of a junior day. It is meant to really kind of find out who's serious about the program, get a better look at these kids, see how they interact in big groups, see how they interact with the coaches, things like that. Like, it's because you have a certain number of officials. You have a finite number of officials. And if you remember last year, a reason a guy like Malachi Coleman didn't get an official and others down the road didn't get officials because we were running out of them. We were dramatically low on officials. We were even talking about maybe some of the commits taking their official in the spring. Like could you imagine, Phil Picciotti taking his official visit, next month? Like, within the rules, you can do that. So I think the staff, has these big events to make sure they know who's going to actually want an official and who they want to have an official. So it's always a numbers game. Got to be careful with that. So junior day, you never expect really a bunch of commitments because of the Brent Venables visit policy, if you will. He will encourage people not to commit if they still plan on taking visits. Is what it is. I know a lot of people don't like that, but it works. We ended up with the number 4 class last year. So I'm not in any position to start arguing with Brent Venables. So now to kind of the highlights of the weekend. Obviously, had a lot of talent in. Williams Nwaneri is the big name to know. There are some that have said he actually was close to actually committing on Saturday. But for those of you that are familiar with his head coach at Lee Summit North, one Jamar Mosey, used to play for Bob Stoops, won a national championship, 2000. He is the head coach at Lee Summit North. He tells these guys to take all their visits. Caden Green went to the same school. Caden Green was going on visits. I got a text from a coach that coaches at another school that said, "Yeah, I don't even know what Caden's doing here. He's an OU guy. Like, he's going to commit to OU. Like, he's wasting his time here." But so you'll see Williams take a ton of visits, but it's because Jamar wants him to take those visits. So that's good. Boganowski was putting out content tonight, actually tagging or putting Isaiah Simmons in the edit, actually, which was kind of cool. I know a lot of us talk about the cheetah position and Isaiah Simmons and what a recruiting tool he is for Brent Venables, but to see somebody put it in an edit, especially a safety that's a big safety. Boganowski is a big body. I think a lot of schools are actually offering him at linebacker. So he's going to naturally be typecasted into the cheetah role because every OU fan thinks that we need 15 cheetahs in every class. Or if you're a big athlete, you need to be a cheetah. But anyways, Boganowski had a great time. Tavani Mizell really is the topic of conversation that people want to talk about. So running back room in general, because DeMarco Murray he's destroying it. It's an embarrassment of riches. This is something to remember too. So Jarrett Gibson, the top running back in the class, according to 247, wants an OU offer. He's come to OU. He's visited. He wants an offer from DeMarco Murray. DeMarco has not given him an offer. So he's crystal balled to Texas. So when people, want to say, hey, Texas about to land the number one back, it's literally because DeMarco Murray has prioritized other people. And if there's anybody that has earned the benefit of the doubt of prioritizing other running backs, it's DeMarco Murray. Currently on the board, I still think Caden Durham is kind of he's going to be a Sooner. I think it is first come, first serve with guys like James Peoples, guys like Tavani Mizell. It's really going to come down to who wants to shut down their recruitment first. Because, these guys want to take their visits. But I think once you see one commit, I think the other will commit within the next probably 2 weeks. Because if you want to play at OU, you gotta make it happen. So, anyways, Tavani Mizell is a stud. He's got great speed, can run between the tackles, can catch out of the backfield. Had a better sophomore year than he did as a junior, but I think he'll have a big senior year and start climbing back up the rankings. He's the 15th ranked running back right now. So the running back room is getting loaded quickly. If you just think about the signees, right, and don't think about transfers, don't think about, holdover, COVID year guys or anything like that, you're going to have a running back tandem of Gavin Sawchuk and Javonte Barnes being the 1 and 2 backs this year, if I had to guess. And then you've got Caleb Hicks and Dalen Smothers, who I think Smothers will probably get a lot of playing time. So I think, you get 2 more studs in this class. Now all of a sudden, with Barnes and Sawchuk having a whole nother year under their belt next year, it starts to get really crowded, which is a good thing. But Jimmy asks, why would you turn down a 5-star running back? Well, you'll have to ask DeMarco Murray that question. And I feel like DeMarco Murray, as great as ranking systems are and everything like that, DeMarco Murray, he can watch film and determine who he wants to coach, who he wants to pursue, who he wants to sign. So I see we've got our first Marcus Major mention. I will, just as I told you all 1 year ago, I will believe it when I see it. The coaches can say whatever they want about, man, we really think he's going to be a big part of this backfield. We're going on year 5. Last year I said we were going on year 4. Going on year 5. He got passed up by a true freshman. Got outpaced all year. I know he had dealt with injuries, but he keeps dealing with injuries. And as some of us know, injuries, they become more common the older you get. So, I would love for Marcus Major to prove all of us wrong over these last few years. But Jimmy brings up a good point. Xavier Robinson, he was actually in the space last night. It's Carl Albert, big old kid, like 6'2", 225, 230, big guy. Massive legs, very much a guy that could play. He's being offered at linebacker by some places. He's kind of a fullback type. Parker brought up a good point. Kind of reminds me of Mikey Henderson. Mikey Henderson he was positionless. He was with the tight ends in the tight end room, but he wasn't really ever a tight end. He was more the size of a running back. But anyways, think like that. So we're going to take 2 running backs in this class. But if we do take a third, it will be Xavier Robinson. I think Xavier just got his Colorado offer today. But regardless, it's like if Xavier Robinson wants to be a Sooner, especially with the work they're putting in at Carl Albert in 2025, Xavier Robinson will have an offer no matter what. We'll have a committable offer no matter what.
Yeah, and just following up on all your points about the running back room, Trav, as well. Somebody else said this. I think it's always good to have a loaded running back room because we've been in positions before where we've been really thin. We remember what happened in 2018, where Rodney Anderson went down, and really at the end of the year, the only running back hardly still standing was Trey Sermon. You know what I mean? And which led way out as well to a little bit of Kennedy Brooks, which hey, that kind of he sprung his career, if you will. But again, you never know what happens in a running back room from year to year. And so, we have two backs we know are going to be very good in Javante Barnes and Gavin Sawchek for the next couple years. We've got some young talent, like you said, with Hicks and some others coming in. Obviously, Major's still there. We'll see what he can provide. You have Megwa in there, and who knows what he's going to look like. But it's always good to have a deep running back room, and you can just keep adding to it. And this goes back to we talked about this last year, and it's the same conversation we've been having about um, Todd Bates. That people saying Todd Bates can't recruit. People were saying the same thing about DeMarco Murray a little bit ago, and so where y'all at now? You know what I mean? He's obviously, as Trav said, he's killing it on the trail. So looking forward to having him continue to be here, as we saw with some of the raises we had in the
Yep. He was one of two people that got extended through 2025.
Yeah.
Everybody else got extended through 2024. Bates and Levy got extended through 2025. So, yeah, I mean, the running back, you bring up a great point, JP. Everybody said DeMarco couldn't recruit because he missed out on Kamar Wheaton, and then he went and got Eric Gray in the portal.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, it's kind of been, been in good shape. I mean, the eye for Javante Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk looks like it's going to pay dividends. We're going to have a redshirt freshman and a true sophomore maybe be the best running back duo in the Big 12. And they are just getting started. So if you think about that, if you just, JP, if you extrapolate that out and say the quarterback position, if you say, okay, Dylan Gabriel, let's assume this is his last year, just a guess. But say this is Dylan Gabriel's last year. Javante and Gavin are redshirt freshman and sophomore. That means Jackson Arnold, with his first year as a starter, will have two guys with a ton of experience coming back and being, at that point, one of the most talented running back duos in the country.
Yeah. Yep. Which, hey, that's exactly what you want. Thunder and lightning. It's what they used to call Samaje and Joe Mixon back in the day. A couple years
That's
ago.
the Joe Mixon that did not shoot a kid, by the way.
Bruh, that made me so hot. I hate that people keep trying to drag him and I get it, like when his name comes up, it can be polarizing, and I don't want to go too much of a tangent on this, but like you still see people like anytime Joe Mixon name brought up, oh, he hit a woman though. He's a woman beater. And I'm like, first of all, if you don't know the whole situation, don't speak on it. Second of all, like he did what he was held accountable for what he was supposed to do. That's what he did. He had a misdemeanor, was off the team that entire year. And I know people may feel like that wasn't enough, but you know what? That's what was determined, and he did it. And really, since this year, he hasn't been in any trouble. People love him in Cincinnati. He's been the leader of that community, like documented. So I don't know. It just really irks my nerves when people try to do that, and then to say like they're gonna get whoever put that out is gonna sue to say he shot a child is crazy, legitimately insane. So let's go ahead and move on to something we've been want to talk about for a little bit, some SEC rivalries, and that's really what the SEC is going to start to do once OU Texas in allegedly, right? That's what we've heard. It hasn't, I guess, been officially announced, but we've seen some mocks of what people think who you're going to play year to year. You got the 3 that you'll play every year, and I believe the other 6 will be rotating. Be 9-game SEC schedule. So we're gonna get a little fancy for y'all tonight. We're gonna go ahead and add it to the stream so y'all can see what we're talking about. Okay, so first up here, we're gonna go through everybody. Right, we're gonna say what we think of it, what I think of it, what Trav thinks of it. Y'all tell me what y'all think of it. Obviously, we'll finish with Oklahoma's at the end of the time. So with Alabama, we have Auburn LSU and Tennessee that they'll play. And I'm not sure, Trav, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Did we see something about did Nick Saban say something about that? About potentially having to play LSU and Tennessee every year? He wasn't too happy about that, was he?
He said Auburn, LSU, and Tennessee. I'm not quite sure how they came to that conclusion. Here's the thing: who's Alabama's third rival? If you want to keep it as traditional rivals, you got to have Auburn and Tennessee there.
Yeah.
LSU kind of has become a little bit of rivalry, especially in the Saban era, as Saban came from, LSU, won a title there. So he came from there. Obviously, for a while, they've been, kind of top two in the West for the most part. So, I mean, he was already playing LSU every year anyways. I don't understand. Like, these are three teams he was already playing every year.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why now it's an issue, because you had to play Auburn and LSU because they were in the West, and then the Tennessee game is a rivalry with the Cigars. So I don't quite understand what he's complaining about. It's not like they were going to give Alabama, Vandy, Mississippi State, and South Carolina or something.
Yeah. No, and I like I said, I think it makes sense regionally and for everything else. So yeah, I wasn't sure why he would scoff at that. I mean, they could have gave him Georgia. Imagine if it was, because look, Tennessee's going to be good. They'll be, with Josh Heupel there, they'll be better than they've been in a long time. But I would rather play them in Georgia. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, can you imagine having to play Auburn, LSU, and Georgia every year? That's crazy.
I'd rather play the Jets than Georgia.
Yeah. So, all right, let's keep moving down the line. Arkansas, they're going to have Texas, LSU, Missouri. Now, I was disappointed in this, and this feeds into a little of the Oklahoma talk as well, which we'll go into super depth on towards the end here. I really wanted Arkansas. I did. I really wanted them for a lot of reasons, and I'll expound on that later. But I'm not sure Arkansas wanted us. Some fans may say they did, but they want to go back to the old SWC days with Texas, and that's fine. They can do that. I'm sure that'll be fun for them. A fun little rivalry that's regional. LSU obviously is one that is natural. Although from another one, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. This is one that I just pulled up, but I could have sworn that they said Ole Miss instead of LSU. Didn't one of the football accounts tweet that out that they thought it was going to be Texas, Ole Miss, and Missouri?
I thought it was LSU because they always used to play LSU the last game of the season
Right,
in Old War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock.
Yeah,
which I drove by a couple weeks ago. But it is a dump. But yeah, I think Arkansas LSU makes more sense than Arkansas and really anybody else outside the of their options that they would have been.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Yeah, they didn't want OU every year. That's a fact. All right, let's keep moving. Auburn, they got Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi State. This is NCAA football on CBS's list, James. And this is pretty as accurate as I've seen, or at least what would make sense to me that they should.
It's the most recent. It's the most recent.
Most recent, yeah, correct. Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi State. I mean, again, everything going down at Auburn. Alabama's going to continue to be their rival. Makes sense. It's tough to play Georgia every year. Man,
Alabama and Georgia every year is brutal.
It's rough.
Brutal.
Mississippi State, Starkville, that's not too bad. But, yeah, Alabama and Georgia every year is rough. That's tough.
Yeah, that's tough stuff.
Florida, they had Georgia, South Carolina, and Kentucky. Now, I felt like, this may be an underrated one that you could say, man, that's pretty tough as well. Because you have Georgia, obviously, in Jacksonville, cocktail party. South Carolina, Shane Beamer's got them boys playing well. Spencer Rattler's coming back for another year. And then Kentucky, I mean, Mark Stoops has got it rolling out there. Obviously, he's going to miss Will Levis a lot, but
Yeah.
still a good program.
No, I agree. It's interesting. I actually haven't looked at the bottom of this article because what we saw from Ross Dellinger was Florida was our third, and obviously, I mean, making sure all the numbers work correctly. I know every team has different ones, but I mean the Kentucky. I'm not that much of a Will Levis fan, so yep, it switched him up.
It did, which continuing to move down here. We'll go quickly through Kentucky, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Florida, LSU. Obviously, we saw what they're going to do, and that makes sense. Arkansas, Ole Miss, Alabama, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, South Carolina is interesting. Why they would put that with Missouri, but getting to Oklahoma because I know that's what we're all here for. Most that we've seen is at Texas, Missouri, and Florida, which I know we talked about that a little bit last week, but. I wouldn't mind playing A&M. Kind of the same reason that I wanted to play Arkansas, just to shut them up because they talk a lot. But I know that we both said recruiting-wise.
I would love to play A&M from a recruiting perspective.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's almost like Florida is the one where you feel like, man, if we can get in the state of Florida consistently, that's what we want. But I mean,
so in the 2021 class, we signed 2 kids from the state of Florida. 2022 class, we signed 4 kids from the state of Florida. And in 2023, we signed 6 kids from the state of Florida. So we're building out that pipeline. And boy, oh boy, you look at a guy, even like a Tavani Mizell from Florida coming up. We'll be a Texas-heavy school always, but we're continuing to build that out. So I personally would like to see Florida in there.
Yeah, I agree. And I was like, again, like I said, could we go Arkansas? But I think, like you said, being able to go to Florida or have Florida come to us every other year is just going to be huge in that state. And to be say, hey, we're going to be in Florida, twice during your son's career, man. So don't worry about him going far from home. You'll be able to see him. Bring the family out. Bring the cousins. Everything like that.
Won't it be just such a great environment? A great place to watch a football game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I think the Texas one is pretty accurate. I think this is probably what actually is probably going to be A&M, Arkansas, Oklahoma.
Texas feels pretty obvious. Like they have clear-cut rivalries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like SWC with Arkansas, that's actually an old school rivalry, like a legitimate one, not like an OU Missouri one.
Yeah.
A&M obviously, and OU obviously. Texas, I bet that was the first one they did because it was so easy.
So easy to do. Now A&Ms are interesting to me. I don't know, Mississippi State. I almost feel like it's more of a regional rivalry for LSU to be there, but I know the LSU is kind of taken up by different cats. So I guess that makes a little sense.
I think Texas A&M is so far down on their totem pole of priorities when it comes to having rivals that SEC was like, okay, some of these schools like Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, and they kind of just get thrown. If that's your third team, it means that they were just looking for somebody to throw in there.
Yeah. And then Vanderbilt, man, nobody really cares. Just gonna be honest. They're not. They got to go do nothing with what they got. Tennessee, Kentucky, Ole Miss. It's probably 3 L's right there for them. But it's gonna be interesting, man. When the SEC finally comes out officially with this rotation, it's gonna be interesting to see what it looks like. Definitely think it's gonna generate a lot of hype for the 2024 season with the SEC and everything like that, and obviously also the college football playoff moving to 12 team. It's just going to build up a lot of stuff, in my opinion, for it. So I'm excited to see what
it's made for television. I think that's what they need to actually do is actually have like a college football playoff type situation where they reveal the SEC schedules. And I think you would get people to tune in. I think it would be a big deal. I think it'd be way better than just releasing it on Twitter.
Yeah, that would be pretty fun if you did a whole show, SEC Network style. But I guess we'll have to see what it looks like. Now, question for you, Trav. What do you think is going to be the future of the Big 12 and I know we're leaving, but as it pertains to some of the rumors that they may go after some fledgling Pac-12 schools?
Yeah, I think they have to be strengthened numbers, right? Because I don't think they can add any more quality. Really, I think they have to add quantity. So I think if they're smart, they'll go Colorado, Utah, and both the Arizona schools. I think Utah instantly would be a top 2 or 3 school in the conference. I think that they can recruit West Coast well. I think some of the West Coast schools that will be left behind will not be able to recruit at all because all of a sudden they may look up and think, well, it's now a P4 situation and not a P5 situation. If they take those 4 schools from the Pac-12, the Pac-12 folds. There's just no two ways about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talked about that a little bit last week too. What we believe the future of the ACC and Pac-12 are, and at the end of the day, Pac-12 may be going under. ACC's doesn't look that great either. All right, hey. So last week we talked about Gaylord Memorial Family Stadium and potentially adding more seats, potentially making a better fan experience. But obviously, we saw that the Board of Regents approved $175 million athletic complex. And so I thought we could talk about that a little bit as well. Now I'm coming off my winter season, guys. Really, really busy. So I haven't really been in the know as much on specifics and details. So Trav, let me ask you, what have you heard about that facility and what they're planning to do with it?
I'm hearing the best of the best. I've been told by somebody on staff, I'll actually read the text message to you guys. I won't tell you who sent it, but sent this yesterday. This is the 3rd football facility Thad Turnipseed will have designed and built. He did Bama's when Saban hired him, then Clemson's new facility, now ours. The guy is an efficiency genius. This new one will be his best one.
Ooh. Boy.
Yeah. Yep. Practice fields. There's going to be 2.5 practice fields that will be connected to the facility. It's massive. I mean, it's when some of the staff got there as part of Venable's new crew, they talked about little things like how far the dining area is from everything else, how far the recovery, because here's the thing, when you start just adding on, you start building out.
Yeah.
When new technology stuff comes open, you just build it out. We good?
Yeah. What happened?
Okay, cool. I don't know. It started buffering on my end. Anyways, it's just a reimagined, efficient thing. I mean, I know you guys heard like we're bringing in cubicles for extra staffers because we're adding so much staff. We're adding the Soul Mission. We're adding this, that, and the other, and they needed room for them. So the Barry Switzer Center will turn into kind of all sport offices, and it is very nice. Those offices are gorgeous. So anyways, I do think, I mean, Florida, there was a writer that was like, man, Florida spent like $80 million on theirs, and it's incredible. I can't even imagine what $175 million is going to buy in Norman, Oklahoma.
Oh, I'm muted. According to some people, we're broke, and we don't have it like that. We're not going to be able to compete with facilities in the SEC, and the seeding and everything that they wanted to say. But yeah, it's so dope to see us not only in football, but obviously, things were announced by the OU club in terms of women's tennis and women's basketball. Obviously, you have Love's Field going on, and then the baseball complex. There's just so much stuff going on at the University of Oklahoma right now that you have to be excited to be a Sooner fan. Obviously, of football, but of all sports that we have going on there. Looks like we're going into a new era with updated complexes, and I think a large part of that is the move to the SEC and the what that's going to require and bring. But it's all, again, it's going to bring more money to us as well, and so I'm really looking forward to it here in a couple of years. It's going to be popping down in Norman.
Yep, and it's important people to recognize that the school money and the athletic department money are two different banks, like two different piles of cash. The school can be operating at a deficit, operating in debt, everything like that. That has nothing to do with the athletic department.
Yep.
In the Stoops era, he actually used to take football money and pay the university, used to give to different departments in the university. I mean, the football program ain't never gone broke, never.
They got too much, man. They got too much. That's why it's always funny. People always want to talk about universities. So, okay, that's fine, but like you're not talking about the football program, which is what we're talking about. So, what do you try to say? What are you bringing up right now? Those Texas fans down below the Red River in Austin. They'll say whatever they want to say.
OSU is easily the worst. They're like, man, why don't you include the other sports? Because we're not including wrestling, bro. We're not including women's equestrian. I love the women and the horses. It's fine. But, like, we're talking football, dog. We're talking football.
Period. Oh, my gosh. It's so funny. Oh, all right. Hey, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of Q&A. It's been a while since we've done that extended period. So go ahead and ask some questions. Go ahead and pop them in the chat, and we'll go ahead and throw them up. Make sure, again, you guys like this video. If you're enjoying what we're doing, please make sure that you just support us by liking the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Both Travis and I and our newly minted JP and Trav show Twitter page, JP and Trav show. That's all you gotta do. Go follow. All right. It's okay, Tyler. If I'm being honest, I want to suggest CJ Stroud. That's what I've always said. But if we're leaning on taking a project, if we're leaning on, who we hired, who the quarterback coach that we hired, then yeah, I'm cool with Anthony Richardson. The one I don't want is Will Levis. He's like the literal last quarterback that I want out of the four. So CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Will Levis in that order. I think Bryce Young is better than Anthony Richardson at this point. However, his athleticism is so tantalizing that you can get away. You can get away with some of his deficiencies when it comes to throwing the football for a couple years because of the way the league has gone, a la Jalen Hurts, a la Lamar Jackson. And I know people are like, well, Lamar Jackson's not even wanting to get picked up by teams right now. Okay, that doesn't change the fact that he's an MVP. Doesn't change the fact that he's been part of one of the most prolific rushing offenses in NFL history since he's been in the league. And they've won a ton of games when he's been healthy. The league is going that way. And so if I can have Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, dog, yeah, I'm going to do that. Because Anthony Richardson can get us where we need to go with his legs on, hopefully, again, we don't want to get hurt, on a rookie deal while we build around him and while he learns the same system, hopefully for a couple years, and then we off to the races, in my opinion. But CJ Stroud ultimately is who I want. Sorry, didn't mean to go off on a tangent on that.
Jimmy Garoppolo's out there.
Hey, don't do that. Don't do that, Trav.
Phillip Rivers says he contacted 2 teams last year to come out of retirement. Maybe you guys run it back.
Phillip Rivers can stay with him and his 9 kids at home.
Matt,
I love old man Rivers.
Maybe
I need to ask. Yeah, here we go. Ask Trav, is his team, or do you want to extend Kirk, or are you trading drafting or trading for a young QB? What do you think?
I am the wrong person to ask about this because I have a very strict policy. If I were GM, I would pay no quarterbacks. I would always have a quarterback on a rookie deal because statistics show, history shows that in the Super Bowl era, ever since, or in the era of the rookie deal, I mean, we all remember Sam Bradford's contract. Ever since that went away, like those crazy paydays for quarterbacks that had never played a snap, I have been anti-paying the quarterback because it's the highest salary that you're going to pay. So it cuts into your books like crazy. You can't afford that extra edge rusher. You can't afford that, extra lockdown corner. You can't afford the whatever, right? That second receiver, that tight end. Like, so my thing is, even if I had a stud on a rookie deal, I would trade him with a year left in the deal to get multiple firsts that I could then spend on quarterbacks. I might draft a quarterback every year and just have competition. Like, the biggest cheat code in sports, it's having a rookie deal quarterback.
Yep.
When you look at, I think there were like 11 Super Bowls it was the year before this year, but 11 Super Bowls, the 11 Super Bowls after the Sam Bradford deal, like you've got 9, so 22 quarterbacks. You have 9 on rookie deals, 9 named Brady or Manning. So you're either have to be a Hall of Famer or you have to be on a rookie deal. So it's one of the two. So, like Stafford, Matt Ryan, there were a couple others that did it, but only 4 of them were like non-Hall of Famers that were not on rookie deals. Only 4 of them. So that's why I would never pay a quarterback. I would ship them. I would pay offensive line and defensive line, like a corner, like a lockdown corner or something like that. But I would always have a young guy on a rookie deal. And at wide receiver, I'd have rookies. You always see rookie wide receivers pop off because it's an easy position to play. Like running back, there's a reason Dak and Zeke were so good back when in 2013 in their rookie year. It was 2016. They went 13-3 in 2016. So they went 13-3. So the PG show, well, Preston says Cowgirls need to move on from Dak and Zeke. Everybody thought Dak and Zeke were the greatest thing ever when they were rookies because they were playing behind the best offensive line in football, and they went 13-3. Yep. So that's what I'm saying. I would like my team preferably, to buy up every all-pro offensive lineman that ever hits the market, spend all your cap money there, and get rookies at all the skill position players. At minimum, you're going to be 500 because if you have the best offensive line and the defensive line in every game, it's like having the best running game. Like whoever runs the ball and stops the run, they usually win. I like my chances there.
Which sooner gets drafted first, JP on the show? If I had my money on it, I would say Anton Harrison.
That would be some smart money. I'm not even sure. I don't even know what the odds would be on that. But I know you would have to bet a lot of money in order to make a little bit of money because the odds are so heavily in his favor. Yeah.
I mean, you could say, depending on how he continues to do throughout the process, maybe Marvin Mims has an outside shot, but
Anton Harrison's I think he's crept his way all the way up into the top 15.
Yeah. I think he's gonna be a first rounder. Maybe been a minute since we've had offensive tackle in the
This
first
is
row.
this is a quarterback's league. Either
Yeah.
you get a quarterback, you get somebody to protect the quarterback, or you get somebody who can go get the quarterback. Those are the three most important positions in the sport. Go get the quarterback, be the quarterback, or protect the quarterback. That's why he's going to go high.
All right, guys, keep the questions coming. Should we make Nebraska an annual non-conference game? I mean, we could, but again, in my opinion, if there was one game that was going to be made non-conference, or that people will probably be clamoring for making non-conference, obviously it's probably Bedlam, but over Nebraska. But I mean, I guess if that was going to be the other option, then yeah, that would be.
Honestly, I don't know if we need one, or I don't think we're going to have one, but I don't know if we need an annual non-conference game. Yeah. I think it's very I think it's much like I felt about the SEC schedule. I wanted the least amount of annual opponents possible so we could spread the schedule out all over. I think if you tie up an annual non-conference game with a Nebraska, with an OSU or anything, I think it would dictate a little bit what you do in your non-conference scheduling, because you won't have that time open, right? And if the SEC moves to a 9-game schedule, you no longer have that late November opening where you can put somebody, right? So if you have an annual non-conference game and you play 9 games, now you're cutting into your very few non-conference windows. And I think you want to leave those open just for some schedule flexibility and, but for be able to, so you can still schedule the big dogs.
Yeah. All right, let's throw a couple more of these up here. What round will Redmond get drafted? I think he's a middle round guy. I'd say 3rd or 4th at the highest. A little undersized. Obviously, he had a good combine, was fast, athletic, and everything like that. But they also look at tape too, and is he going to be able to stay healthy? Does he have the right motor all the time? Those are questions that got to be asked. But that's where I feel like he'll get drafted. I would say 4th, 5th round. Trav, what do you think?
Yeah, I talked to our buddy Thor the other day. And he was he's like, man, I just don't know what to do with this guy. He's like, you turn on the film and it's like, yeah, he flashes a little bit, but he's played no football. He didn't play football for basically 3 years.
Yeah.
It's like he took the COVID year off. And then, I'm like, does that mean he's got tread on the tires? Or maybe, I don't think he loves the sport necessarily. I think he wants to do it for a living. I think he's got a lot of Trey Brown in him. And I say that to say Trey always stepped up in the big moments, but he'd kind of fade a little bit, on an 11 a.m. game against Iowa State or something like that. But if it were OU Texas to the Big 12 championship or anything like that, Pat Fields looked like an NFL, or not Pat Fields, Trey Brown looked like an NFL player. So I think that is a little bit of his issue. I'm not sure how much he loves the game. And he's got to go to the right situation. So I think he's a late round guy.
Okay. I understand that. He's there for sure. Let's see what else we got here. This is a good one. What's the minimum win total you will accept from OU football?
That I will accept. Man. I want to say 10. It's like 9.5. I feel like 10 is my answer. But because 9 is still kind of below the standard. We've got, year 2 in the system. Defense should be better. We've restocked. Our run game is going to be good. Like, I just don't see a lot of holes. And the schedule really lays out nicely for us. So, yeah, you're going to see a ton in the chat. 9 games, 10. Got to be 9 to 10. That's why I put it at 9.5. I think that's right in the wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Personally, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like 9 or 10. Yeah, I mean, we have our quarterback coming back. Obviously, we have some offensive line things that we got to get situated, but we answered some of that hopefully in the portal. Um, we got Guyton as well. Running backs look to be good. We got a boss wide receiver coach. Man, I loved. Did you see that tweet when he just tweeted out Hollywood Brown? That was so cold, dog. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I like this cat. Oh, he's dirty. Like that was, yeah. I was like, man, this is what we gonna see from him. That's all I need to see, dog. Um, yeah, but defense in the second year under Venables, you know, addressed a lot of defensive line things. Well, I guess not maybe a ton of defensive tackle stuff all the time, but defensive ends for sure. The edges look really good that we got from the portal. So I don't know. 9 to 10 is good for me. Obviously, I love just like anybody else would to see 12, but you don't always see that, right? You got to
I
have.
mean, it's very similar to kind of how, I mean, odds work, right? So, like, if you were just to say how many games are you going to be favored in, everyone but one probably in Texas, and that depends on how Quinn looks, and that depends on how Texas looks without 2,100 yards worth of rushing on the roster that they're losing in Roshan Johnson and Bijan Robinson. That's going to be big because the more they relied on Quinn last year, the more he let them down.
Yeah.
So I think, I think we'll see about Texas, but we should be favored in every game. TCU at home at the end of the year, I guess, is probably what some people think a trap game after going to BYU on a short week. But yeah, if you were just to look game by game and say, hey, should we win this game? Yes. Should we win this game? Yes. But if you extrapolate that out and say, should we win these 5 games in a row? You're like, yeah, but I don't know. I'm a little less confident in it. But they're like, well, you said you were favored to win every one. I'm like, yeah, but betting on the whole thing to go correctly is a little bit different.
Thoughts on Kevin Sperry?
Kevin Sperry from Prosper, Texas, Rock Hill. I think he'll be a Sooner. I was told about Kevin Sperry before I had ever even heard Michael Hawkins Jr.'s name mentioned. We were talking, I think, about like Ravian Larry or something like that, saying, "Oh man, you got to watch for these kids, blah blah blah." And somebody was like, "Man, Kevin Sperry, quarterback, like he's the truth. If he gets an offer, I think he's going to be Sooner." Like people were talking in the know. People were talking as if it's signed, sealed, delivered. He's going to be our 2025 guy. Like just extrapolate, or just running that out and walking it out. I'd say, hey, what are we going to do for 2025? And it's like, oh, Kevin Sperry is going to be our quarterback. I mean, It's wild how I've never seen. I mean, Brandon Drum put in a crystal ball within like a minute and a half of Sperry tweeting out his offer. I mean, pretty significant. The kid's a stud. He's got offers all over. So, kid is a stud. Yeah, they're going to have to lose one. I mean, it depends on if they get out of Bama healthy because they go to Tuscaloosa. So you can look at that 2 ways. Oh, they're going to be battle tested, or they're going to run into some bodies and, they're going to get beat up a bit. So kind of like Quinn did, right? Yeah. So we'll see what Bama has in store for them. But that's a tough game to go to, man. No doubt about it.
A couple more questions here. Who's the biggest impact player from the portal for y'all?
JP?
I would say Deshaun. I mean, in my opinion, I think he's definitely going to be.
I think outside. Let's go outside. Let's go he's already freshman American. So
Yeah.
outside of him, who do you think the biggest impact portal is?
I think you could potentially say either Reggie Pearson or Rouse on the offensive side of the ball, obviously, and maybe Reggie for the defensive side of the ball. I think Reggie would probably be.
You muted,
No, can you hear me?
or am I?
You're not muted at all. I can hear you perfectly loud and clear. Can y'all hear me on the chat?
Yeah, I got you now. I got you. My
Yeah.
AirPods disconnected.
Um,
Okay.
no, but I would say Pearson or Rouse. Offensive side of the ball, Rouse. Defensive side of the ball, Pearson. I think out of the two, maybe I feel like Pearson could make more of a splash. Depending, now look, I know Rouse is decent. He did some good things at Stanford, but obviously we're going to be leaning on Guyton more than him necessarily. But we needed some safety help, pretty bad.
Right.
Well,
I
that's
think
my opinion.
I'm going to go Austin Stogner. I think he opens up so much in the middle. He's more of
Uh,
a receiving tight end than Braden Willis is. He's
yeah,
got them big Mickey Mouse glove hands, big white gloves. He's finally healthy. I think a lot of you friends forget what he was like when he was healthy. But I think he's going to open up a ton, and we need him. Caden Helms is in a boot. Jason Llewellyn's in a boot.
they're both
We
hurt.
got nobody. We got nobody healthy. Yeah, we got nobody
Yeah.
healthy. So Austin Stogner is really going to have to show up and be like, "Hey, you're the guy." So I think he's going to help big time on third down. I think he's going to help the intermediate passing game that everybody is starving for. So you get a good run game going, and you're able to slip Stogner off a block and kind of get him up the seam. Kind of a Kittle type situation.
Yeah.
Then I think we're in good shape. So I'm going with Stog, big Stog.
Big Stog. Man, I can't wait to see him back on the field, man. I really can't. That cat. Hopefully, Dylan has a better year using the middle this year than he did last year. I don't know what you can attribute to. We can talk about that, you know, for a long time, whether that was just not being open in the middle or whatever it was. But obviously, the middle wasn't used a ton this year, and we know that. So, okay. So I told the chat we're gonna do one food, this or that, and to give us some ideas. I'm gonna give about another minute or so because the ones I saw were like they're okay. They wasn't nothing special. So, oh, hey, your mama coming through in the clutch. That's a decent one. That's a decent one. Let's do it. I'm a big mayo guy. I am. And I don't know about y'all.
Really?
Yeah, I like mayonnaise. Do you like mayonnaise?
I like mayo just fine. It's just fun. I've just never heard anybody say I'm a big mayo guy.
Like that's probably my condiment of choice. If like
I
if I'm
accident, I
what
accidentally, I accidentally basically made some mayo the other night. I was making some wing sauce. So I don't know if y'all are familiar on how to make mayo, but it's eggs and oil. And then you emulsify that, and then it becomes mayonnaise, right? So what I had done is I had done egg yolks, Dijon, garlic, like a cup of Parmesan cheese,
yeah.
all kinds of stuff. And I'm making this garlic Parmesan wing sauce, right? Well, I hit it in the blender and I start pouring I was actually using peanut oil, actually. So instead of olive oil, I was using peanut oil and I was just emulsifying that in. Well, I left it on. I went to go do something else, chop something up or whatever, because I was putting a bunch of herbs in it. And I look and I'm like, oh crap, I just made mayonnaise. Like it was the thickest sauce. I tried to thin it out a little bit with, some of the moisture that was in the herbs and everything like that. But it was mayonnaise. It was basically Parmesan mayonnaise, and it was delicious.
Man, Parmesan, man. Look, I'm gonna have to have you cook for me, man, one time.
Parmesan garlic mayonnaise. Oh, it was so good.
We've been out and eating, but I need to sit down and have you actually cook at a cookout or something next time I come down. Anyways, I don't think I've ever had Duke's mayo. I swear by Hellman's though.
I think Duke's is the best.
Really,
Personally, I think Duke's mayo is the best. Yes.
I'm gonna have to try it
Now,
'cause I've never had it.
yeah,
I love
gonna
Hellman's.
have to try some Dukes. Can we agree? Are you a Miracle Whip guy? No.
No,
Good. It's too sweet.
my dad was, and I didn't ever understand why. Even as a kid, like I liked it okay, but then when I actually had like real mayo, I was like, oh, like is this what I've been missing my whole life? I said, Dad, why did you do that to me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's now there's I don't like mayo, not mayo. Mexican mayo.
can we flame PG again?
Always. That guy's got the worst food takes.
Ketchup on green beans? What is he talking about?
Dog, what is going on,
Are
man?
you Are you being for real? Please tell me you're joking, because that's one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my life. Ketchup on green beans? I can understand eggs. I can understand eggs. My wife eats some ketchup on eggs. It's not the worst thing in the world. I don't do it. But green beans?
That's what are you doing, man? Disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
disappointed. I'm just hurt. That's why PG's so skinny. Leave him alone, Brandon. Oh man.
Man,
Okay, look,
that's bad.
reasonable. Yes, fried green beans. If you got it in a batter, okay, I understand. But like, if we talking about like if you got to put ketchup on your green beans, that means you're not doing green beans right to begin with.
Right. Throw some bacon in there or something.
Right. Thank
Look 'em,
you,
little butter, a little garlic, a little Monty Cisco.
Monty. Why'd you call me PJ, dog? Man, we got daughters born on the same day. You
Yeah,
don't
it's
do that
weird.
to me.
Oh, he was saying that PJ Adebare and Trav, and just yelling it. I think
Yeah.
that's what he was just.
Hey, that cat PJ, his brother.
You're gonna be a dude. You're gonna be a dude. But I'm warning people: don't give away Ethan Downs' starting job just yet. He was the only defender that was all conference last year and had 12 and a half tackles for a loss. Yeah, he had a lot of snaps, but
Hey,
don't give away his job too early. I know a lot of nice, shiny new toys are here, but
you have
don't
some
forget Old
people who've
Faithful.
been processed.
Yeah, you ask some people that don't know what they're talking about. They think Danny Stutzman getting processed because they don't know what they're talking about. And then the people that they tell, they ask somebody who does know what they're talking about. So then my DMs get flooded. So if you're out there, don't tell people lies because then they come and ask me what's actually going on.
What's going on? Oh, that's funny. Well, guys, it's been another legendary JP and Trav show. I will answer this on my way out. On our way out, yes, I will take ketchup on hash browns. I will absolutely.
Yes, I will, but I've got to have some Louisiana or some Cholula on there as well.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, and Ethan, I've spoke with Ethan's dad. He doesn't think they're going to move him inside because he's got that explosiveness and speed off the edge. He weighed in 2 weeks ago at 278 pounds. I think they're going to get him back down to 270 or something like that. He played at about 265 last year, so I think they'll put a little bit of weight on him, but they'll keep him as an edge rusher. Now Jonah Laulu, he's moving inside.
Look, I like Ethan. I still think his upside's very good. So I don't know.
He was
I
all
feel like
conference
people
last year. As his first year starting, he was all conference.
I feel like people, I don't know, they were tripping. Like they felt like a lot of things that were not on him were on him. I don't know.
First year
Yeah,
starting in a
he
new
was
system, and he makes all conference.
He's
When the
also
rest of the
good.
defense, I mean, if you're
Yeah.
going to pick on a guy, don't pick on the guy that made all conference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts. Well, all right, y'all. We appreciate you. As always, make sure you go follow us, follow the JP and Trav show on Twitter. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Y'all enjoyed it. Be on the lookout for tweets from us on our guest next week. We will have a guest coming on next week. Exciting. Really
Yes, big
looking
time,
forward to it.
big time
Yeah.
guest. You guys are going to like this a lot. I will say we'll be on Wednesday, same time as or later than OU Insider, but OU Insider will still be going on. And this guest will make you want to leave OU Insider and come check it out. Heck, Brandon and Parker might want to leave and come check it out because it is going to be. If I got the confirmation today from them. They plan on being there. They're going to let me know, but apparently it's on like Donkey Kong. We're at 139 followers. Somebody in the chat, I am sure somebody in the chat is not following the Twitter account. So make sure you follow the Twitter account at JP and Trav Show. I'm going to keep refreshing it. Somebody in the chat has not followed us. I know it. Is it you, Money? Is it you, Brandon?
James,
what about you, Les?
Tyler.
James? Tyler? Who?
I know Topher following us. Topher followed us since day one.
I keep on refreshing.
All it takes is one. It takes one.
All it takes is one.
Just go to Twitter. JP.
There it is. There it is. All right, we in there. 140. All right, cool. There it is. All right, bet. Bubba G77, S Rogers 1. We're all over the place now. That's good. Well, hey, you guys are definitely going to want to tune in next week. There's no doubt about it. We may tease it early in the week. We may not, but anyways, it is a football player. So I'll leave it at that. Other than that, anything else, JP?
No, that's it, y'all. We appreciate you. Love y'all. We'll be here next week. Boomer.